Blissful flow, and it's so lovely to see all your faces and to have all these warm bodies here today. This is only the second week that I've been in the new space teaching, so I'm still getting familiar with it myself. I'm still trying to figure out lighting and speakers and apps and all that good stuff. But I'm glad you're here, and I've heard a couple of people say, be easy on us, and maybe I should be, but I'm not planning on it. And here's why. I was easy when the pandemic first hit, the first few months, we were all at home. When I started the teaching last June, I was a little easier then because a lot of us were shaky, even in our planks. But a lot of us have been going strong since then. So I don't want to downplay Blissful too much because I teach gentle after this. The gentle's more, at a lower level, I should say, physically than what I'm going to be doing today physically. But with that being said, several of us have also mentioned the new moon that we just had in Cancer. Cancer is a water sign. It has been emotional for some of us. Things have been coming up to the surface. We've been feeling a little funky. Even Gabriel felt it yesterday. We went somewhere and he was like, Mom, what is going on today? I can't remember what you said. You said something about the energy feeling funky and we were all feeling it in our house yesterday. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better today. But there's a lot of new energy coming to this planet right now. So we are going through a lot of shifts and changes. I've been talking about this for a year. We are actually ascending to a whole new level. If you follow numerology and astrology, they're talking about this a lot. If you follow anybody who channels, who's tapped in intuitively, they're talking about this. We're going through this huge shift, the biggest shift that we've ever experienced here on Earth. And it started in 2020 and it's going through, I've heard 2024, I've also heard 2026. I've heard it being called a spiritual World War III, as far as what's happening collectively in the state of consciousness that is happening amongst the grid energetically. The light is winning, even though it doesn't look too good at times, and it can seem chaotic and confusing and a bit crazy at times. So just keep trusting the process. It's all unfolding, and just try to stay centered as much as you can in yourself. And this practice is so important because yoga and meditation, as well as mindfulness, can keep us in that more centered state. So our theme for today is coming from my shirt. I bought this shirt since the pandemic at another studio that I teach at. And it's by a brand called Spiritual Gangster. I don't know if you've ever heard of that brand. And there's nothing on here other than Spiritual Gangster in this quote. And it says, love is the bridge between you and everything. Love is the bridge between you and everything. And so for those of you that haven't been with me since the pandemic, right before the pandemic, we started really emphasizing there's two columns that energy and emotion fall under, love and fear. And I don't think it was a coincidence that that was really heavily upon us right before we all had to split up. But I continued that theme and I kept bringing it in because so much is driven by fear and so much is trying to produce fear that we need to be really cautious on where our head is at and where our heart is at. And yes, there's things to be stressed about or fearful about. It's not saying that fear never exists, but we really have to be mindful about whether or not we're going down that rabbit hole, because we don't want to feed the fear, which feeds the dark side. That's even in Star Wars. All right, so we're going to be focused on this quote. This quote is actually by Rumi. Rumi was a Persian poet and philosopher. He was a mystic. He was a Sufi mystic. And there's lovely, lovely quotes by him. And this is one of them. Love is the bridge between you and everything. We're going to be listening to a song at the very beginning of class. But I want to show you what we're going to be doing right before we get in, or right after we get out of this pose, so that you have a visual. It's a psoas release. So what we'll start
with is a restorative bridge, where we're actually placing the block at any height underneath the low back. But what we'll be doing, follow football, you know, when someone's about to get tackled, sometimes they stiff arm the guy. That's what we're doing. We're stiff arming our own leg. So you have this arm extended, locking the knee into place. You're flexing the foot, and you're equally pushing the knee to the hand and the hand into the knee. And you're doing it and doing it, doing it, pressing it with each other, and then eventually you're going to release and straighten out that leg for the release factor of the psoas. And then we'll do it to the other side. Hey, hey, how are you? So sorry. No, you're fine. Grab a couple of blocks if you can. They're over here. Nice to have you, Mark. All right, so let's go ahead and get in that first pose. And for anyone watching the recording later, you're going to want to pull up a song because the music is not relayed through Zoom. We are going to be listening to an old country song. It's not that old, it's from 1990. But this song was released on September 11th, 1990. It's by the Jets. And I love that this song came out 11 years before, on September 11th, 11 years before what happened. Because I'm a big believer in numerology. And 11 is like a portal, it's an angelic number. So go ahead and recline down to your back, tuck and lift, place the block on that first, second, or third height underneath your sacrum. And I want you to listen to this song as you restore in this pose. And I would go ahead and invite you to open up your breath, breathing in and out through the nose.
Gladly walk across the desert with no shoes on my feet. Share with you the last pie bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of dreams. All your hopes are sinking. Let me show you what love is. Love can build it between your heart and mine.
That's the main lyric I want you to hear.
Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time?
I would whisper love so loud, every heart would understand. Love and only love, joy that tries to think. I would give my heart's desire, so that you not see. First step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build it.
You're in a half bridge pose now.
Your heart and
Consider how we've evolved into this fourth dimension reality, where there's so much division and polarity. And instead of standing on either side of the fence, being black or white, can we fall into the middle where there's all of this gray and respect each other's opinions and build a bridge between each other from a state of love. Love, compassion, and understanding. Take 3 more deep breaths here.
when we stand together,
pick up your left foot, stiff arm the knee. Keep the resistance. The knee's trying to push the hand away and the hand is trying to push the knee away. Creating that tension in that muscle so that we can tense and eventually release to flush it out and to release any extra tension or stress that we've been holding here. Release the left leg, straighten it out, rest on the heel. Soften the foot. Let your belly bellow in and out as you breathe. And consider again the theme for today. Love is a bridge between you and everything. Love is a bridge between my heart and yours. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Walk the left foot back and then float your right foot off the floor. Stiff arm the right knee with your hand, pressing the two together. Notice when you're creating this resistance, it gets a little harder to maintain a full deep breath. So do less physically to focus on the breath more if the physicality is overriding the breath. Good, now release that leg, send the right leg out, rest on the heel, soften through the foot. That right side of your body has turned from a half bridge to a full bridge. The psoas muscle that we're working with is one of the, well, it is the only muscle that attaches the lower and the upper body together. It wraps around the inner hip, it moves up through the abdominals and attaches to the low back. This is also a muscle that ties in with our nervous system and with emotions, which is why sometimes when we're doing deep hip openers, we sometimes draw up a few tears. So since our theme is based on love is a bridge, we're going to be focused on these poses that are creating this bridge shape or rainbow shape today, with this theme in mind. So every time you strike this type of position with your body, remember our theme for today. On your next in breath, go ahead and travel the right foot back. Press down through the soles of the feet to energetically lift away from the block. Send the block off to the side. Stay lifted in Setu Bandhasana, but circle the arms up overhead. So your arms are now tracking beside your ears, fingertips reaching towards the back wall. Make sure you're pressing through the mounds of the big toes so that your knees stay narrow, your thighs stay engaged, and your glutes are fired up. On your exhalation, we're going to start to roll it down one vertebra at a time. Circle the arms back around as well, so the sacrum lands with your hands. And then inhale, let's drive it up. Opening the front of the body, strengthening the back of the body. And then as you exhale, gently roll it down. Make sure you're piercing that navel in to control the work as you release back to your mat. Continue this flow of movement. Inhale, rising up to Setu Bandhasana, your bridge. And then exhale, bringing it right back down. Synchronize this with your breath 2 more times. Most important thing when you're lifting up is to make sure that you're utilizing your feet, which helps to engage the hamstrings and the buttocks. The next time you roll back down to your low back, hug your knees into your belly and chest. It's Apanasana. Affirming here. I offer every thought as a bridge to divine grace. I offer every moment as a way to build a bridge between your heart and mine. Now gently roll over to one side of your body, press your way up to sit, and then just sit on your seat comfortably a moment, cross-legged. Your hands are going to cross over towards your right hip. And I want you to look down at your hands, and you're going to follow your hands as we move to the other side. We're going to rainbow one arm up at a time. So as you inhale, take your left arm up, then your right. Rainbow it all the way across towards your left hip. And then continue that, inhaling one arm then the other. Follow your gaze with that first hand, Hasta Drishti. The exhale taps the floor. And you're just moving from side to side. But this time when you cross back over towards your left side, the right arm's gonna hang down towards your lap, and then your head's gonna hang down towards the shoulder. Now this is a little bit more of a yin stretch. We're not gonna hold it as long as yin, but I want you to notice the muscles that it targets. Sometimes if we have an SI joint issue in the low back, it will eventually start to feed up into the side of your back. Is it called the QL? Anybody know? It's called something like that. Anyway, I had this issue this past year. This was one of the stretches that could help. Same thing if you wake up with a stiff neck. Some of these poses where we hang ahead can open up some of those threads. Good, on your next inhale, rainbow it up and over to the other side. This time allowing that left arm to hang down towards your lap. Your head to kind of bury down towards the shoulder, your eyes can close. You're softening that right elbow that's supporting you. Releasing that right shoulder away from the face. Try not to minimize your breath. We're always trying to maximize the breath, even if we're holding it in stillness, unless it's something more restorative. Something more restorative, you can have more of a calming breath. Good. On your next inhale, bring both arms up. Once both arms come up overhead, really reach high through the fingertips, elongating the vertebrae. And then exhale, bring hands to the hearts. All right, we're going to transfer to hands and knees. We're still going through a warm up here. We're going to be doing some heart opening poses. I'm going to turn this way so once in tabletop position, you're going to send your right leg off toward the windows. Now really root down through your left limbs and inhale, open up to Stargazer. When you open up to Stargazer pose, start to rotate and revolve through your belly, through your chest. Fan the fingers wide on that top hand. As you exhale, lower the right hand down. Now press down firmly through both palms because you're probably going to want to buckle that right arm especially. But try to keep it straight as you lift your right foot and flex it. As if you were trying to push the front door open. And then slowly take that right leg behind your back. Sink down to the back heel. Shift your left shin behind you and open back up into this modified side plank. From the modified side plank, bring the right arm overhead and start to drip the left ear down towards the shoulder. So you're making that bridge or rainbow shape with your side body. Yeah, your right foot can descend down. You're kind of puffing up through your right rib cage. And then from here, inhale, re-lift your right hand, lift your head up so you're next in line with your spine. Beautiful. Take your left foot more towards your left hand, spin your right foot more towards the back wall, and then open up the front of the hips. Open up your abdomen and your chest into a modified Wow thing pose. Again, we're creating these shapes like a bridge or a rainbow. Keep pushing down through the ball of the right foot. And as you exhale, gently turn it back to center. Bring that left shin with you as you lower your right hand, descending your right knee to table. And then inhale, extend your left leg to the side. Open up to Stargazer here. Taking that spinal twist. Put a landing line down from the right shoulder through the right wrist, the mound of the hand. Press down through your right shin, ankle and foot. Maybe see if you can spin a little bit more open through the barrel of the chest. And then exhale, start to lower the left hand down. Once you lower the left hand down, try not to buckle the arms. You're gonna lift and strengthen your hip. As you lift that left foot off the floor, flex it, press out through the four corners of the foot. Slowly carry that foot back behind you, sink the toes, the heel, shift the right shin back behind you, come back to a modified side plank. This can also be considered a modified half moon. Now let's curve over, creating the side bend, the side stretch. Open up the intercostals in between the ribs. Keep planting heavily through your back foot so your quads are engaged. Let your head drip down. Deep yogic breaths. Inhale, relift the left arm. Shift the right foot more towards your right hand. Spin your left toes towards the back wall. Spin the front side of the body open towards the ceiling, as if you were offering yourself to the heavens. Make sure your breath is consistent. From that modified wild thing pose, you're safely, cautiously going to turn back out, returning to tabletop position. From tabletop, curl the toes, launch into downward facing dog. Now, we went over this a lot, maybe a couple years before the pandemic hit, but we're not only grounding the hands, but we're really trying to ground the feet, the part of the feet that's touching your mat. So instead of sinking the heels down, we're actually trying to lift through the front of the ankles. We're trying to lift up through the kneecaps. And that way we're getting more space in between each vertebra. We're gaining more height in the pose. And we're moving all the energy from the feet and the hands up towards the pinnacle of the pose, which is the sits bones. Good, take one more deep breath. Affirming mentally within, love can build a bridge. Walk the feet forward towards the top of the mat. When the feet come forward, lift your hands up to your shins. Lengthen out through the spine. Shine your heart forward. Look out with your eyes. And then as you exhale, bow over and down. Pausing here just to open up the backside of the body. Increasing the space in the low back, opening and warming the hamstrings. I also want you to notice when we're in a forward fold, even though there's so many great benefits to a forward fold, it's about release, it's about letting go, it's about going within. It has a completely different expression and energy than heart opening poses. So let's go ahead and inhale. Sweep the arms to your sides and up overhead. Coming into Urdhva Hastasana. Feet are grounding, arms are reaching. Exhale, bring the palms together, hinge forward, lower down again to Uttanasana. Now we'll begin more of our standing flow. Inhale, you can come halfway up like we did earlier, or you can arch up, yogi's choice. On your exhalation, you're stepping back to plank, shifting forward and lower to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, rise to upward facing dog. As you exhale, roll it back to downward facing dog. Lengthen through the arms, lift up out of the shoulders, create space behind your heart. And then as you exhale, sink down to your knees again. When you sink down to the knees, flip the heels in, and lift the crown of your head up, swan. As we exhale, we're rocking back to extended child's pose. Now we're going to do this with repetition. Super glue your hands to your mat. Feel the stretch in the pits of the arms where there's tons of lymph nodes. In this kind of area where there's lymph nodes, where there's lymphatic tissues in the chest, we don't get a nice flush there unless we do deep stretching, deep breathing. We're going to continue this with repetition. Inhale, rock up to swan. If it's too much to kick the heels in, you can keep the feet on the floor and do a modified up dog. Exhale back to extended child's pose. And do that a few more rounds. Inhale, coming forward and up. And exhaling back. Again. Pausing in extended child's pose. And it's okay if your head hovers, it doesn't necessarily have to touch down, but roll your arms away from your ears. Create a little bit more depth and space between your shoulder blades. Beautiful. Inhale, rock up hands and knees. Exhaling, Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward facing dog. On your next inhalation, you have an option to step, lunge, or float the feet to Ardha Uttanasana, where you're arching up or coming halfway up. And then exhale, spill back down. Inhale, draw it all the way up to the top. Exhale, we're bringing it right back down to Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen out. Exhale, chaturanga. So you can even bounce back to that low push-up if that's in your practice. Inhale to up dog. And we're exhale going back to extended child's. So what we're going to be playing with next is Cobra. So before we go into Cobra, I just want you to lift your face up, look down the lane of your mat. I want you to think about being like an inchworm. So being like an inchworm, we're going to bend the elbows, but we're going to stay low towards the ground. And we're going to use that upper body strength to push our heart through the hands to land onto the abdomen. And then once you lay down to the tops of your thighs, lengthen your leg bones back, back, back. Feet resting on the floor. Your glutes and buttocks should be firm. And then on your inhalation, you're rolling up to Bhujangasana Cobra. Try not to separate the feet too wide. Good, and exhale, come on down. Now, if you need to stay low and work with baby cobra, just floating your hands, only isolating the work in your back, that's fine. But if you want to use the assistance of your arms to come more towards a king cobra, you can. Take it to your level of ability. Remember, cobra, the arms stay more bent, more relaxed, shoulders away from the ears. We're straightening the arms, then it's more about the arms and less about the back. So continue to roll up and down with your breath, rising up deliberately and fearlessly like a cobra snake. And do one more of those. And then we're going to take it back into extended child's pose. From extended child's pose, rock up hands and knees. Take it to a second counter, dropping the tailbone, scooping in through the belly, arcing high through the shoulder blades, and bowing your head chin towards chest. Keep breathing in and out through the nose, even though we're holding just the singular posture. Feel the bridge that you're creating here with your back. And love can build the bridge. Inhale, soften through the belly, neutralize your back. Walk your hands just a baby step beyond where the shoulders are. Curl your toes. Take it right back to downward facing dog. From Adho Mukha Svanasana, spread out through the fingers. Grip with your hands. Slightly dial them away from each other. And let your head hang effortlessly between the arms. Good. Take a couple more deep breaths in and out through the nose. And then on your next inhalation, you can meditationally walk, you can lunge, you can float the feet to land lightly together at the top of the mat to Ardha Uttanasana. Once you extend your spine, roll it back down. Inhale, build all the way up to the top again. Exhale, hands together. We're going to be using a block in the next flow. So have it either at the top of your mat or close by and hands reach. We'll pause in Uttanasana for you to get the block available. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, your choice to go to plank to Chaturanga or to launch back straight to Chaturanga. Good. Inhale, up dog. You do that so effortlessly. It's beautiful. Exhale back into child's pose. All right, now, Lord have mercy. Y'all can blame this next one on Instagram, okay? Because it's a beast. All right, I just saw a picture of it, and I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. And I did it yesterday. And I usually do power of 3, right? Everybody said, stop at 2, stop at 2. So we're only gonna do 2 sets. Okay, I'll be nice. Inhale, lift your face up. We're gonna slither through like we did earlier. That takes a little control, doesn't it, to do that? All right, this is where it's gonna get a little amped up. We're taking the block, one block. Holding it sideways in between the hands. We're going to reach the arms ahead of us and then come down to the chin. All right, inhale, we're lifting up to locust. Remember locust, your glutes should be super engaged. So is your low back. So is your core. Make sure you're breathing. Now, hold that block in your right hand. Take the arms back behind you. Reach that block towards the back wall. Maybe that will lift your chest a little higher, but keep your feet up. Now hold the block between the hands. Roll those shoulders back. Separate your right hand, hold it with your left. Now bring the block in front. Holding locust. Continue to breathe. Hold it in your left hand. Swim that arm back. Maybe lift those slightly higher. Good. Hold the block between the hands. Shoulders roll back more. Separate your left hand. Hold with your right. Bring the block back out. Lower it down to your chin. Woo. See why they stopped at 2? It's fun though, right? Have fun though. Think of the shape we're creating. We're creating the shape of a smile when we're in locust. Inhale, smile when you lift. Your whole body smiling. Take the right hand to hold the block behind you. Maybe left side behind. My legs are shaking. Hold the block, shoulders roll back. Am I alone in that? No. Okay, separate your right hand, hold it with your left. Good, bring it around in front. This is our hardest part today. We're almost through it. Block in the left hand, swim it back behind. Hold the block together with both. Lift the chest. This is getting harder to talk. So bring the left hand. Bring it out in front. All right. Okay, hands up underneath the chest. I want you to take this slow, 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 okay? Slowly push up to all fours. Rock your hips back over your knees. Crawl your hands back. Take it slow. That was a lot. Drop the tailbone. Zip up to your midriff. Go slow with the action here. Arc high through the shoulder blades. Bow your head, chin to chest. Then rock your hips back towards your heels. Your arms are now going to circle around behind you. Palms are open, resting alongside your feet. Coming down to rest on your third eye. Pay attention to where you're feeling the heat or the sensation. And send love and breath to those areas. We have a lot of stress being held in the body, or a lot of trauma or unprocessed emotion. It can crystallize, it can start to harden, it can become more dense, and then it will lead to ailments and pain. And the point of yoga, mindfulness, and meditation is to reduce the suffering. So just be here, breathing love back to yourself, back to those tissues where you're still feeling maybe the after effects, aftershocks of that work. We were just talking about this new moon in Cancer. It's all about coming back home, and how some of us really do feel at home going within. Some of us are trying to find our new sense of home in the outer world. We may be feeling a little misplaced. Go within and affirm mentally to yourself, I release and relax from all outer involvements and return to my inner haven of peace and love. Inhale, slide the arms out ahead of you, rock up to hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right when the air came on, feel that breeze. Inhale, you can meditationally walk, lunge, or float through to the top of the mat. Over that halfway upon arrival. And then exhale, bow out. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, half side. All right, we're going to do one more flow. Put the back in, of course. Inhale, arms lift. There's lots of poses that create these shapes. Exhale, fold. I'm leaving a lot out, but I want us to get several in. Inhale, halfway up or arch up. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana, forward staff pose. In to upward face, and out to child's. So we're going to come through again, just like we did in those previous two sun salutations. We're inchworming through and landing to the belly, the tops of the legs. All right, we're going to lift the feet and flex them. The arms are going to stretch back behind us, okay, like we did in locust, except we're keeping the thighs grounded. And we're trying to lift the chest using the strength of our back to do so. This is sharp. I would suggest staying here if you're already, kind of limited in your back bends or feeling a strain. If you have the flexibility to grab the fronts of your feet, you're lifting into bow dhanurasana, where the thighs elevate away from the ground. Your feet are pressing into your hands. Rock gently with the power of your breath. Exhale, release. If both of your blocks are at the front of the mat, take one and go ahead and slide it back. It'll be prep for you when we get there. Hands below the shoulders, press up. Walk it back. Take cat stretch. So the cat is a counter of cow, which is a back bend. So it's a great counter for Dhanurasana, which is a more dynamic back bend. Inhale, soften the belly, neutralize the spine, curl your toes, lunge into Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward facing dog. So downward facing dog, we shouldn't have a bow in the back. Some people bow in the low back, some people bow in the shoulders. You're trying to keep more of a straight line or more structure with your muscles. One more breath. All right, inhale, lift your heels high. Exhale to sit to your knees. We're gonna come on around. Feet around. All right, so I'm gonna demonstrate where we're going next. So you're actually going to be, have your hair tied up in the back and you wanna take it down. So I know you guys have done this with me, but it's been a little bit. So one thing we're gonna do with the block is coming up to bridge this way so that our knees don't have a chance to splay. That typically is what happens when we're not aligned or engaged properly. But when we're up, don't do this right away. We're gonna test glute strength. The glutes need to be fired up when you're in this pose. And we'll attempt lifting one leg up, and if the hip dips on one side or the other, it's showing you that you're not engaged enough or that you're weak in your glutes. I won't have you hold the one foot up forever, just long enough to test it. This is what they do in physical therapy to test glutes. So we'll test our glutes, but we'll start with bridge. Block between the thighs, close to the knees, ankles aligned underneath the knees. Arms beside you, palms facing downward. Go ahead and roll the upper arms and shoulders down towards the floor and feel the wingtips of your shoulder blades pushing up towards your chest. And when you have that lift in the cavity of the chest, ground and push down through the feet. Start to tuck the tailbone and lift the buttocks away from your mat. Continue to squeeze the block. Continue to squeeze the buttocks. See if you can puff your chest a little bit higher in towards your chest. Good. Now when you're ready, see if you can just lift your left foot. We're not trying to lift it straight up. We're trying to lift it in a diagonal line. So the thighs and knees stay parallel. Great, Marianne. Good, I know, it's tough, right? If you need to come down and switch to the other side. Even if your hips just drop, being symmetric, the glutes aren't strong enough. We'll try to keep that same elevation. Good, send that foot down. Good, lower comfortably to your sacrum. Pick up your feet, grab that block. Good, set the block to the side for just a moment. Take Ananda Balasana, happy baby pose. So I know I'm not alone because I've talked to many other people who are feeling the same thing. In fact, I went and got active detox the other day, and Anne was like, "Oh, I am feeling this." And Donna Coggeshall, who was the original owner of Half Moon, they had taken a walk around the neighborhood,
And she was feeling it a lot too. But because we were isolated so much this past year, and things are getting active again, and people are meeting in groups again, there's gatherings again, I want you to be particularly aware of whether or not you're feeling extra sensitive to that, empathetic, you know, if you're feeling overwhelmed. And know that you're not alone in that. And try to strike a balance. It doesn't have to go back to the same normal that we had before. Hopefully we've learned some lessons. All right, let's bring the feet back down. We're gonna tuck the tailbone and rise and place that block underneath the sacrum. Now I'm gonna give you options here, you guys, okay? This is really what I was gonna be ending gentle with. So if you need to be gentle, you're gonna stay here, or you're gonna float your feet and do waterfall, okay? So I just want you to check in here. Those of you that are like, yes, I want blissful, yes, I want action, then you're gonna tuck and lift away from the block. And you're gonna flip your hands over your shoulders, and you're gonna press up to Chakrasana or Urdhva Dhanurasana, your upward bow. And that's gonna be your big Mat Daddy rainbow bridge pose. And it's okay if you can't straighten your arms all the way. It's okay if you cannot stay up very long. And if you're moving in that direction, stay up for maybe, 3 to 7 breaths. And when you need to come down, you're bringing the chin towards your chest, you're elongating your neck, you're slowly coming back down to your half bridge. If you're still active in half bridge, you're welcome to roll on down. If you've been in waterfall with your feet in midair, go ahead and land the feet to the floor. Tuck and lift. Roll down and curl in like a cannonball this time. So your arms are wrapped around the front of the shins, your forehead's picked up. Slowly lower your head back to the ground. All right, I'm going to give you an option here too. So if you want to recline in that full bridge pose, what we did earlier with that psoas release, you're welcome to go there. If you prefer a twist, I want you to land the feet, cross your right leg over your left. Just open your arms out shoulder height. Pick up your left foot. And then allow the knees to roll off to your left side. So twisting, so good for trimming the waist. It's good for helping to align the spine. It's good for rinsing out the abdominal organs and glands, bringing more productive energy, creative energy up higher to the brain. Name just a few of the benefits. Since the yogic twists are considered the most cleansing of the yogic poses, and it's good for all 7 chakras, I want you to consider this next quote from Rumi. We started off with the one that's on my shirts. Love is a bridge between you and everything. There's another great quote of his. Your task is not to seek for love, but to seek and find any barriers within yourself that you've built against it. seek and find any barriers in yourself that you've built against love, giving or receiving.
So a lot of the energy that's been swirling since this recent eclipse season is about things surfacing from our past that it's like kind of the final remnants of the karmic cleanse. We're going through a major karmic cleanse right now. And in yoga, we talk about going to the root cause of whatever that is. And I mentioned that in class last week at Unity. And someone showed up to the class yesterday that had been in that class where I was talking about going to the root source. And she told me, she said, you know, I've been sitting with that and I figured out what mine is. She said, I was the first born in my family and I put all of these expectations on myself. And I don't need these expectations put on myself anymore. Inhale, try to draw back to center. Uncross the legs, plant the feet, and then recross the legs, but left over right. Lift the foot, the feet, send them over to the right. And slowly and deeply in and out through the nose. Maybe be contemplative for a moment. What has been regurgitated? What is showing up? You may not be positively sure what the root cause is. But giving that example may have helped you discover what yours is. You're ready, draw the knees back to center. Uncross the legs, give a quick squeeze here. We are ready for Shavasana. So if you want to lay out in corpse pose, if you prefer something more restorative, you can use any of the props you may have gathered. Lights on. It looks like Jen brought in towels if you want one for the eyes. Now is the opportunity for you to recline, to relax. For your mind and body to bring some integration. moving into some silence. The song is complete. Started off this practice. Love can build a bridge between you and everything. Listen to the Judd song. Love can build a bridge. We did all the shape shifting to create this within our physical body. We've been contemplative in our minds. The task is to seek and find all the barriers within ourselves built against love. Rumi also once said, wherever you are, wherever you go, and whatever you do, be in love. Fast. Right now. Sound, the mindfulness sounding. Keep this as an opportunity just to return to your breath. enliven your breath, to connect to your breath, because the breath really is the bridge between the outer and the inner realms. The breath is the bridge between our body and our soul. Let's go ahead and bend. Feel free to hug them in. That feels good to your body. Feel free to rock side to side if that feels good. Ready, turning to one side. Come up and sit. Let's consider for a moment something that we can all do to bridge any gaps whenever we're seeing so much polarity or divide, because that is the work of the light workers right now. You're included in that. That's yogis. Bridge hearts together. Join your hands to prayer position at your heart, creating that intention of commitment to yourself. Play at least your part. There's days where we will succeed and there's days where we may fall short. Just give grace and compassion to yourself when you fall short. Let's take our yoga beyond the mat. Let's chant Om together once. Take a deep breath in. Turn this off a minute.